I'm Audrey, 30 years old, and nothing could have braced me for the moment I watched my brother, Derek, slap my 6-year-old daughter, Lily, across the face at our family reunion. Even worse? Hearing my father, Howard, chuckle. "Well, she needed to learn some shame," he said, as my mother, Eleanor, laughed along. They thought their cruelty was hidden, but they forgot about the documentary mic capturing every vile word. Before I share how I made Derek's life a waking nightmare, drop your location in the comments, and hit subscribe if you believe children deserve protection, even from family. Growing up in the Thompson household meant learning your rank fast. I was the scapegoat, always wrong, always blamed, while Derek was the golden boy, flawless in their eyes. Our roles were carved out before I even knew how to name them. My father, Howard, a high-powered corporate attorney, had rigid dreams for us. Derek ticked every box. Athletic. Brilliant. And worst of all, he mirrored our father's ruthless temper. I resembled my mother, Eleanor, in looks, but not in spirit. She was eager to uphold my father's regime. I questioned everything, which made me the family's problem. "Audrey just doesn't know how to act," my mom would mutter at family parties, shaking her head with trained disappointment. Not like our Derek. By 16, I had armor. I learned to shrink, to stay quiet, counting the days until I could run. When I met Jason in my first year of college, he felt like freedom. He was gentle, present, and for the first time, I felt seen. Really seen. We married when I was 20, too young, but desperate to build the kind of home I'd never known. My parents came to our tiny wedding with cold smiles and constant critiques, from my dress to our vows. Derek, already racing up the corporate ladder at 22, gave a pricey gift and a speech that sounded kind, but dripped with smugness. "I never thought my little sister would find someone willing to take her on," he joked, triggering awkward laughter. "Good luck, Jason. You'll need it." For a while, I thought I'd made it out. Jason and I settled in a small apartment. I earned my degree in communications while working part-time. We weren't rich, but we were happy. When Lily was born at 24, it felt like my world finally aligned. She arrived on a stormy Tuesday morning, 7 pounds, 3 ounces of joy. Her father's blue eyes, my dark hair. I held her and silently vowed, "You'll always know you're loved. You'll never wonder if you're enough." But the cracks began when Lily turned 3. Jason worked late. Grew distant. Then I found messages from someone named Kara. He lied at first, then admitted to a 6-month affair. We tried counseling, but he'd already checked out. By Lily's 4th birthday, we were divorced. I never told my family about the cheating. I just said we grew apart, knowing they'd still blame me. And they did. "Men don't leave happy homes, Audrey," my mom scolded over the phone. "What did you do to drive him away?" Single motherhood slammed me harder than I expected. My admin job at Madison Marketing barely kept a roof over our heads. I sometimes had to bite back my pride and ask my parents for help: car repairs, surprise medical bills, school supplies for Lily. The money came tied tightly to judgment. "Poor decisions, Audrey. When will you grow up?" Meanwhile, Derek's life sparkled. Youngest VP at his firm. Married Natalie, a pediatrician from old money. No kids. "We're focusing on our careers first," Derek would say. My parents paraded him as the pinnacle of success. "If only you had been more like your brother," my dad loved to say, "you might have amounted to something." Still, I wanted Lily to know her grandparents and uncle. Kids need family, I reasoned. Even if it meant I had to run interference. So when the annual Lake House reunion came up this summer, for the first time in 3 years, I said yes. "You sure about this?" my best friend Tara asked when I told her. "These people have never had your back." "They're still family," I replied, stomach churning. "And Lily loves the lake. I can survive a weekend." For her. Lily was overjoyed. At 6, she was a lightning bolt of energy, always singing, always curious. She had my fire, and a boldness I never had at her age. "Will Uncle Derek be there? And Grandma and Grandpa?" she asked while we packed. "And can I swim every day?" "Yes to all of it," I said, pushing past the weight in my chest. "And Grandma said your cousins are coming too." What I didn't mention, my Uncle Paul, married to Dad's sister, Linda, was filming the reunion for a family documentary. My father was obsessed with preserving the Thompson legacy, mostly Derek's rise to glory. Driving to the lake house, I repeated mantras in my head. "It's only 3 days. I'm strong now. I'm not that broken kid anymore. I'll shield Lily from everything I went through." But now I see the truth. You can't protect someone from poison by placing them in its path. Some lessons tear through you the hard way. The Thompson Lake House loomed like a shrine to privilege and pretense. Weathered cedar siding. A massive deck stretching toward Lake Michigan. As I parked our little sedan behind Derek's polished BMW and my parents' Mercedes, the old ache crept back, that feeling of being small, unwelcome. "We're here!" Lily shouted, unbuckling before I even turned off the engine. Her excitement filled the air. Innocent to the tension tightening my shoulders, Lily beamed. "Can I go see the lake right away?" "Let's get settled first," I said, forcing a smile. "And say hello to everyone." The front door swung open as we reached it, revealing my mother, dressed in pressed linen pants and a cashmere sweater, despite the summer heat. Not a single hair out of place in her perfectly styled, salon blonde bob. "There you are," she said, eyes sweeping over me with practiced scrutiny before softening slightly at the sight of Lily. "We thought maybe you'd backed out." "Traffic was heavy," I replied, accepting her stiff embrace. "It's good to see you, Mom." Inside, the great room buzzed with relatives, food platters, and clinking glasses. My father stood near the stone fireplace, engrossed in conversation with my Uncle Robert. He barely acknowledged us, nodding briefly without pausing his discussion about stock options. Derek and Natalie emerged from the kitchen, his arm draped with performative affection around her shoulders. My brother, built like our father, tall, broad, had colder features. Sharper. Strategic. His smile, like always, stopped short of his eyes. Well, the prodigal sister returns," he announced, loud enough to turn heads. "And with little Miss Lily. Look at you, you've grown, kiddo." Lily shrank beside me, her hand clutching my leg. "Hello, Uncle Derek." Natalie stepped forward with her usual warm but measured grace. She'd always been kind to me, in the way someone is when they know better than to rock the boat. "It's so good to see you both," she said, embracing me sincerely. "Lily, your cousins are down by the dock if you want to join them after you get settled." "Mom, can I go?" Lily asked, already bouncing with anticipation. "After we take our bags to the room." "I promised," I said. Derek sipped from a crystal tumbler, his eyes scanning me over the rim. "Still working at that little marketing firm?" "What is it, assistant to someone impressive?" "Administrative assistant," I corrected, steady. "Still there. Actually got a small promotion last month." "How nice for you," he replied, mock enthusiasm dripping from every word. "I just closed a 7-figure deal with Anderson Tech. Dad, did I mention the bonus they gave me?" And just like that, the spotlight pivoted. My father clapped Derek on the back with pride. "That's my boy, always pushing the limits." Nearby, my brother-in-law Paul adjusted camera gear near the big bay windows. He offered me a quiet, knowing nod as I walked by. Paul had married into the Thompsons but never really absorbed the family ethos. Like me, he hovered on the edge. "Trying to catch everyone's good side?" I asked under my breath. "Doing my best," he replied. "Your dad wants a ton of footage of Derek talking about his career, plus ambient audio from the house. I've got wireless mics set up all over to catch natural conversation." Our room was the smallest in the house, tucked into a back corner with a view of the neighbor's fence instead of the lake. I helped Lily unpack, listening to her excited chatter about cousins, Derek's wife's nieces and nephews, technically. Can I wear my blue swimsuit? And show everyone the song I practiced all week? My heart clenched. Her joy, so free, so bright, was the same kind of light that had once lived in me, before it had been dimmed. Of course, sweetie. You can sing. Just try to pick the right time, okay? Sometimes grown-ups are talking. The first evening unfolded as expected, quiet competition laced beneath every interaction. My father steered dinner conversation toward Derek's latest victories, while my mother picked at me, everything from my hairstyle, wouldn't a more professional cut suit you, to my parenting style. Lily's very high energy. Don't you think she needs more structure? I watched as the cousins, ranging from 7 to 12, already echoed the Thompson pecking order. They corrected Lily's speech, rolled their eyes when she spoke too loud, and casually excluded her from games in ways too subtle for most adults to notice, but kids always do. Later, while washing dishes, my Aunt Linda approached me with a practiced tone of concern. Derek mentioned you've had a rough time since the divorce, she said. We have a position opening in our mailroom. Thought of you. I appreciate that, I said, carefully. But I'm actually up for another promotion at Madison. I'm leading a small team now. She patted my arm with the patronizing finality of someone who's already dismissed your potential. Well, the offer's there. Sometimes it's good to be realistic about our limitations. That night, as I tucked Lily into bed, she was unusually quiet. Everything okay, sweetheart? She traced a finger along the quilt. Cousin Emma said my singing was annoying. And Uncle Derek told me girls shouldn't be loud if they want people to like them. I swallowed the lump forming in my throat. The echoes of my own childhood stung sharper than I expected. Lily, your voice is beautiful. You deserve to be heard. Some people just don't understand joy when they see it. Grandpa said you were loud when you were a kid, too. That's why you always got in trouble. I forced a steady breath. Well, sometimes adults are wrong, even grandparents. Especially your mom's parents. She giggled, and I kissed her forehead. Tomorrow will be better. We'll swim and have fun, just us. But as I lay awake in the unfamiliar bed, listening to the clinking glasses and laughter from downstairs, I couldn't shake the feeling I'd made a terrible mistake bringing Lily here. Some places stay poisonous, no matter how much time passes. And the Thompson family lake house was still steeped in venom. Morning broke with sunlight pouring through the thin curtains. Lily woke with her usual zest, yesterday's bruises apparently washed away by dreams. Mom, wake up. Uncle Paul said there's special breakfast in the big room, she called, already dressed in her favorite blue sundress dotted with yellow butterflies. I checked my phone. 8:17 a.m. I'd hoped for more rest after the night I'd had. But Lily's spark was contagious. All right, I'm up, I said with a groan. Let me throw on clothes, and we'll go. The big room, as my parents called it, was their over-the-top great hall, vaulted ceilings, a wall of windows framing the lake, and acoustics that made every word carry. It served as both dining room and bragging arena. By the time we arrived, most of the family had gathered. My father, of course, held court at the head of the massive oak table, scanning the newspaper. My mother oversaw the catering staff, because heaven forbid she lift a spatula. Derek and Natalie flanked my father, deep in discussion about property portfolios. Good morning, I offered, aiming it at the room in general. A few distracted nods answered back. Coffee's on the sideboard, my mother said, barely glancing up. Lily, the kids are at the smaller table by the window. I noticed Paul fiddling with his mics near the buffet. He gave me a subtle wave as I poured myself coffee. Capturing all the family drama? I asked under my breath. Your dad wants authentic interaction, he replied, raising an eyebrow. For the family archive. Breakfast began smoothly enough. Lily tried valiantly to join her cousin's conversations. But the exclusion came swiftly, soft, sharp, and impossible to miss if you were looking. I sat across from Aunt Linda and her husband, making polite small talk about the weather and local property values. About 30 minutes into breakfast, the children finished eating and wandered to the play area at the far end of the great hall. The adults remained at the table, voices rising in volume as mimosas were refilled. I kept one eye on Lily, who was softly singing while coloring in a book I'd packed for her. Her voice grew more confident with each verse, a song from her favorite cartoon, something about friendship and adventure. The acoustics in the hall carried her voice, clear and sweet, occasionally rising above the hum of adult conversation. Each time she hit a high note, Derek's jaw tightened. He shot me several pointed looks, which I ignored. My nieces and nephews had abandoned her, gathered instead around a board game. They excluded her with practiced, casual cruelty. "Audrey," my mother called across the table. "Don't you think Lily's being a bit disruptive?" Before I could respond, Lily launched into the chorus, unaware of the tension gathering around her. "For God's sake," Derek muttered, loud enough for conversations to pause. "Can't you control your child for 5 minutes?" I began to rise, intending to gently ask Lily to lower her voice, but then everything happened at once. Derek pushed back his chair, the scrape harsh against the hardwood. He strode toward the children's area. I moved to intercept him, but Aunt Linda asked me something, just enough to delay me by seconds. Seconds that changed everything. Lily looked up at Derek with a smile, just as his hand struck her cheek. The slap cracked through the room. Conversations halted. Lily's small body jerked backward. Her coloring book slipped from her lap, pages fluttering to the ground. A vivid red imprint bloomed on her pale cheek. "Like mother, like daughter," Derek said loudly, scanning the room. "Both useless. Can't even behave in public." My father's voice followed, sharp and smug. "Well, she needed to learn some shame." My mother's laugh, light and dismissive, echoed behind it. Audrey never did understand the value of a quiet presence. I unfroze. I rushed to Lily, who was sobbing now, her tiny frame trembling with pain and confusion. I gathered her in my arms. "What the hell is wrong with you?" I hissed at Derek, who stood watching, arms crossed. "She's 6. She's old enough to learn the world doesn't revolve around her noise," he said coldly. "Maybe if someone had taught you that, you wouldn't be a divorced secretary raising a brat alone." "Administrative assistant," I corrected automatically, voice shaking. "And she's not a brat." She was singing. My father folded his newspaper with precision. "You're overreacting. A little discipline never hurt anyone. Look how well Derek turned out." The room divided. Some nodded in quiet agreement. Others looked away, uncomfortable. Only Paul stood completely still by the documentary equipment, pale and wide-eyed. The microphones. They'd been on. Recording everything. Derek realized it too. His eyes darted toward Paul, the equipment. I stood with Lily still in my arms, her face buried in my shoulder. "We're done here," I said. "Nobody touches my daughter. Nobody." "Oh, stop," my mother snapped. It was hardly a tap. "You're embarrassing yourself." I laughed bitterly. He slapped a 6-year-old for singing, and I'm the embarrassment? Derek stepped forward, looming. "Watch your mouth." It was discipline, not assault. Something you clearly never learned. I backed away, holding Lily tighter. "Stay away from us. We're leaving." Running away again, he called after me. "That's all you've ever been good at." I didn't answer. I focused on getting Lily somewhere safe. From upstairs, I could hear the hum of conversation returning. My family had already moved on, treating the slap as a minor misstep, not an unforgivable act. But everything had changed. The rules were different now. Back in our room, I laid Lily gently on the bed. Her sobs had quieted into hiccups. The mark on her cheek still burned red. I ran a washcloth under cold water and pressed it gently to her face. "It hurts," she whimpered. "Why did Uncle Derek hit me? Was I bad?" The question shattered something inside me. "No, baby. You weren't bad. Uncle Derek was wrong. Very wrong." "But Grandpa said." "Grandpa was wrong too," I said firmly. "Nobody should ever hit you. Especially not for singing. Your voice is beautiful." When she finally fell asleep, I began packing with trembling hands. We needed to leave now. If we stayed, they would try to gaslight us both, minimize what happened until Lily doubted herself. A soft knock at the door made me freeze. "Who is it?" "It's Paul," came the quiet reply. "Can I talk to you for a second?" "Alone?" I cracked the door. "Now's not a good time." He looked grim. "I got everything on tape. The slap. Derek's comment. Your dad. Your mom laughing. All of it." He lowered his voice. "I can make you a copy. Before they tell me to delete it." My breath caught. "You'd do that?" He nodded. "What Derek did, it was assault. I've never seen anything like it. Linda doesn't know I'm here." "Thank you," I whispered. "Meet me by my car in 20 minutes. After he left, I called Tara. She answered on the second ring. "How's the family reunion from hell?" "Derek hit Lily," I said. "Slapped her." My parents laughed. There was a beat of silence. "Then, you're leaving right now." "On our way." "Come to me," she insisted. "Don't go home. Come here." When I hung up, Lily was curled into the blankets. I woke her gently. "We're going to visit Aunt Tara. We have to leave quietly." She nodded, subdued. As we carried our bags downstairs, my mother blocked the foyer. "Where are you going?" "Home." "Don't be ridiculous." It was hardly a tap. "You're overreacting, again." I shifted so she could see Lily's cheek. Her expression flickered with doubt, then smoothed over. "Children bruise easily. Don't make this into a scene." "Would it be nothing if I slapped you for speaking during breakfast?" I asked. "Or Derek, for being condescending?" "That's different," she snapped. "Adults don't need discipline." "Neither do children," I said. "They need respect." My father appeared behind her. "Audrey, you're being hysterical. Sit down. Have a drink." "There's nothing to discuss," I said, pushing past them. "If you walk out that door," my father warned, "don't expect any more financial help. No more bailouts." That used to scare me. Not today. "Keep your money," I said. "It's not worth this." Derek stepped into view, drink in hand. "Running away again, little sister? Can't face consequences?" I looked him in the eye. "The only consequence I'm avoiding is raising my daughter to think violence is normal." His expression darkened. "Is that a threat?" "No," I said. "Just an observation." Outside, Paul waited near his car, partially hidden by a stand of pines. He pressed a USB drive into my hand. "The audio's clear." "The slap." "Everything Derek said. Your dad. Your mom. It's all on there." "Thank you," I whispered. "I won't use your name unless I absolutely have to." The drive to Tara's was silent. Lily dozed in her booster. I stared at the road ahead, planning. When we arrived, Tara greeted us with fierce hugs. I made up the guest room. "Stay as long as you need." That night, with Lily asleep, Tara and I sat at the kitchen table with the USB drive. Are you sure you want to hear it again? She asked as I inserted it into her laptop. I need to know exactly what was said, I replied. And I need a witness who isn't family.
The recording was worse than I remembered. Derek's voice stripped with casual cruelty as he called us useless. My father's smug comment about Lily needing to learn shame followed, punctuated by my mother's tinkling laugh. It painted a chilling portrait, one where hitting a child was not only acceptable but defensible. Jesus, Tara whispered when the audio ended. I knew your family was toxic, but this, I know, I said, my resolve hardening. The question is, what do I do about it? You could go to the police, she suggested. That was assault on a minor. Plain and simple. I could, I admitted. But you know how it goes. Without this recording, which might not even be admissible, it would be my word against theirs. They'd paint me as the unstable single mother trying to extort money from her successful family. So, what then? Tara asked. Just let them get away with it? I shook my head. No. Derek crossed a line, and there have to be consequences. Real ones. Over the next few days, while Lily and I settled into our temporary refuge at Tara's, I got to work. First, I took Lily to her pediatrician. Dr. Winters examined her gently and documented the fading bruise, then referred us to a child psychologist. She's showing trauma responses, he explained. Nightmares, clinginess, anxiety around male authority figures. It's classic acute stress. The psychologist can help her begin to process it. Next, I consulted Lisa, a lawyer friend from college. I brought the audio recording with me. This is pretty damning, she said after listening. Criminal charges? Maybe, maybe not. They'll argue it was a one-time disciplinary moment. But civil action is another story. I don't want to sue Derek. I clarified. This isn't about money. Lisa nodded. Then you should understand this. If Derek has a public reputation or a position with a morality clause, this could be career-ending. That sparked an idea. Derek had boasted more than once about the strict ethical standards at Meridian Financial, where he was a VP. He'd even bragged about mentoring kids and sitting on the board of a children's charity. What if this wasn't about revenge or a courtroom? What if it was about accountability? I began researching. Every claim Derek had made about his professional life, I verified. He did, in fact, serve on the board of the Children's Future Foundation. He did mentor students through the Westlake Business Leaders Program. And his company's code of conduct was clear. Employees and leadership were expected to uphold the highest standards, especially when working with minors. Meanwhile, Lily woke one night screaming, soaked in sweat. Uncle Derek was chasing me. She sobbed into my shoulder. He wanted to hit me again because I was singing. That was the moment my plan solidified. He had robbed my daughter of her joy and her safety. And just like my parents had done to me, he'd made her ashamed of her own voice. The cycle had to end. The next day, I met with Dr. Melissa Garner, the child psychologist Dr. Winters recommended. She'd worked with child abuse survivors and had testified in court cases. Lily is experiencing classic trauma symptoms, Dr. Garner told me. Reluctance to sing, anxiety around male authority, disrupted sleep. This wasn't minor discipline. It was traumatic. I'd like to work with her weekly. She provided a written assessment. That became the first item in my evidence file. Then I filed a formal report with the police. Officer Jenkins was compassionate, but realistic. Family discipline is a legal gray area, she said. Without witnesses or visible injuries, this would normally go nowhere. But with this recording, she paused after hearing it. This changes things. Even if nothing came of the report legally, it documented the incident officially. That mattered. Meanwhile, my phone was buzzing nonstop. My mother's text swung from guilt-tripping, "You're breaking your father's heart," to minimizing, "It was just a little slap, for heaven's sake." Derek's were worse, from mocking "get over yourself," to outright threatening, "You'll regret making this a big deal." I didn't reply. Instead, I edited the recording. No manipulation, just a clean trim to the key moments. The slap, Derek's voice calling us useless, my father's "she needs to learn shame," and my mother's laughter. Then I wrote a short, factual and professional message. No embellishments. No emotional appeals. Just the truth. I sent that message and the audio clip to 3 recipients. 1. The board of directors at Meridian Financial. 2. The leadership of the Children's Future Foundation. 3. The organizers of the Westlake Business Leaders Mentorship Program. I requested confidentiality and explained my ethical concern. A man who struck a child